Hi everyone, thank you for coming. This is my note card, and I'll just start now. Every day, our phones fill up with urgent warnings about grave issues: global warming, war, economic collapses, and political instability. But what if the greatest threat was something that we couldn't see or touch? What if it was the invisible threat of our minds waging war against us every day? This green ribbon is an international symbol for mental health awareness, and it represents the crisis that I'll be talking about today, the mental health epidemic. As a molecular biology student passionate about mental health, I have explored the prevalence, causes, and effects of mental health illnesses through research and personal observations. The mental health epidemic is a snowballing crisis driven by an intricate mix of cultural, societal, and personal expectations. Today, we'll look at the mental health epidemic through three lenses: the rising rates of mental illnesses worldwide, the burden of living in a social media moment, and the effects of cultural expectations. To gain a scope of this epidemic, let's look at how mental health illnesses are now at an unprecedented level, scarring lives globally. According to the World Health Organization in 2025, 1 billion people are currently living with mental health disorders ranging from anxiety to depression. This is a staggering increase from the 970 million people just 6 years ago. WHO also defines mental health illnesses as existing on a complex continuum, which means that each person has a uniquely different experience. A 2019 study by Lifson, Laddie, and Eisenberg revealed that more than 10% of students on college campuses now seek counseling services. This is a clear sign of the mounting pressures faced by young people. Perhaps the most devastating consequence of untreated mental illnesses is suicide. WHO revealed in 2021 alone, suicide claimed the lives of 727,000 people. It also became one of the leading causes of death globally that year. These numbers represent or emphasize the need for how multi-sectoral collaborations are now expanding access to mental health care. Now that we have a scale of this mental health epidemic into picture, let's look at the root evil trends that drive this crisis. I'm sure as a college student, we've all experienced some form of isolation, whether it's the physical distance from home or the challenge of building a new support system in a new environment. This sense of disconnection is only amplified when we compare ourselves to standards on social media, where unrealistic standards of perfection pop up every 20 minutes. Social media is a powerful instigator for mental health illnesses. A 2019 research study by Reem and his colleagues showed that children and adolescents who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media face double the risk of developing a mental health illness over the course of their lifetime. Social media is also a breeding ground for low self-esteem. As chronic as isolation can be to our minds, it also has long-term effects on our physical health. The National Institute of Aging revealed in 2020 that loneliness can be so dire that it is equivalent to smoking 20 cigarettes a day. Um, Similarly, a study in 2022 by Kroll revealed that prolonged isolation can reduce a person's lifespan by as much as 15 years. These sobering truths, though often overlooked, are the ones that permeate our digital world where our generation and future generations spend so much of our time on. As damaging as these technological pressures can be, cultural stigma also poses as an equally formidable barrier to addressing mental health illnesses. Cultural stigma is one of the oldest impediments to talking about mental health illnesses because many cultures view mental health illnesses as a personal weakness or a moral failing. This is also reinforced by transgenerational trauma. Families who didn't have validation from their parents cannot fathom that future generations can have struggles. So individual struggles are deprioritized and in order to avoid shame and maintain honor. Um, but progress is well underway. Universities and schools are more understanding. There has been an increase in mental health education and access to mental health care fostering understanding and acceptance among students. Well-known individuals are speaking out about their struggles, and this continues to lift the spirits of young people. Perhaps the most striking example recently was Marvel's Thunderbolts. It was a compelling allegory that wove real human struggles into a high fantasy superhero narrative. And what was most impactful about the movie was its audience. Viewers of all ages were exposed to this portrayal. And when a cultural powerhouse like Marvel positions mental health as the forefront of their story and not a subplot, it sends a powerful message about why it's important to speak about mental health illnesses openly. As young people, we are at an impressionable age and we can be sucked into this vortex. Academic pressure, societal expectations, personal expectations are all constants in our daily life. Um, Today, we looked at the mental health epidemic through three lenses: rising rates of mental illnesses, the burden of isolation in a social media world, and the lingering weight of cultural stigma. Um, it's also important to know that even though it is unfortunate that there's a rise in mental health illnesses in today's fast-paced, ever-evolving world, it's also unfortunately an understandable consequence given the plethora of factors that shape today's world. Um, so mental health illnesses is a new problem, and every problem, the first step to addressing any problem is to talking about it openly. Um, Today, the world has always faced new relentless challenges historically, and the one constant that's always been existent is each other. Turning on each other is devastating, but not as devastating as turning on oneself. We all know someone who is battling their own mind every day. So it's important to know that mental health is the definition of our humanity. Be kind to one another. And empathy costs nothing but can often mean everything to a person. Thank you for listening.